Alright, so here we have a 2002 Gulfstream Sun Voyager. As you can see, it does have 3 pop outs. As we are going through right now, the engine is running. I'll get a closer shot of that here in just a second. But one thing to mention on the outside here, the previous owner ran into something on the side with this awning. I know the vinyl costs about $400 to replace. I just haven't had the time to replace it. One thing to note is that there is potential bend in this bar right here, so the whole thing might have to actually be replaced, but that is also accounted for in some of the pricing. Up here it does have 29,300 plus miles on it, but as you can see, now the engine actually runs pretty smoothly. And so we'll get into here. I'll put you in here for a second and hopefully you can hear it. But as you can see in here, that there are 3 brand new deep cycle batteries that were put in about 2 weeks ago. Another thing to note right here is that there is a small leak in the power steering hose. It doesn't affect the drivability or anything like that, and I haven't had to put any power steering or anything in there, any fluid in there for 8 to 9 months. And when I do have to put fluid in it, it's a very small amount, so it doesn't really do anything to affect that. There's no major leak or anything there. I just haven't had time to replace that as well. But as you can see, it runs really smooth. And the same thing when you're going down the road, there's no knocking, there's nothing like that on it. Alright, so now we'll just head around the motorhome here. You have multiple storage compartments underneath. Some of them, as you'll see here in a second, go all the way back, meaning that they go to the other side. I'll open up this one right here. This one is just your fresh water holders for your hot water heater and things like that to go up to the kitchen. All right. So this one right here is your freshwater tank. This holds your main fresh water. As you can see in here, it does. Hopefully you can see in there. So this one goes all the way back, but you can't put anything in there. However, in this one, you can see right here that it goes all the way to the other side. So if you have anything long or anything like that, it can go in right here. All right. One thing to note on this is you do have a hot water heater here. The hot water heater runs off electric and propane. So when you have it filled up, it's actually a really good water heater. You have central heat in here, and we'll go inside and look at some of this. And then your fridge. The fridge is a gas and a propane and a AC fridge, so it can operate on either. It also has the option to do DC operations. It's just the DC piece isn't hooked up to the batteries just yet. Back here in the back, not much to talk about. That window right there, the big one, was replaced because the previous owner had somebody go and try to break into it, but it was replaced. They also had an issue where they ran over a pretty steep incline, basically a dip, and they were going a little too fast, so they damaged the back here just a little bit. Doesn't mess with the operations of the vehicle or anything like that. All right, it does have a tow hitch on it, and I wired it for electric brakes, so you have that as well. And we'll see that on the inside. All right, so over here you do have a 50 amp hookup. I have the conversion go down to 30 amp, 20 amp if needed, but only certain things can be running if you go down that low. But it does have a very nice hookup right here. All right, so let's get into the generator itself. So the generator is right in here. It is Onan commercial 6500. It's a 6.5 kilowatt, and it runs pretty smooth. So we can go ahead and start it right here. Alright, so we'll go ahead and leave that running, but as you can see, it runs pretty smooth and quiet. You got the tires in here. This inside tire right here was replaced about 9 months ago. All the other tires have really good tread on them. Those were on previous when I bought it last year. In here you have all your sewer hookups. You have 80-gallon fresh water, gray water and 80-gallon black water tanks. Those valves right there, those are brand new valves, and probably in the last month or so. Okay, we're not going to jump under here, but you got a propane tank in there. I believe it's a 60-gallon propane tank. I'd have to look at the specs. All right, and then you have your hydraulic systems in here. And this hydraulic system can either use hydraulic fluid or a ATF transmission fluid in it. It's designed for both. All right, so that's the outside. We'll take another wide shot around. Alright, so let's go ahead and head on inside the RV here. Alright, so you'll notice as we go in, it does have electric step. That is operational. Alright, so as we walk in, you'll notice that the couch itself does need reupholstering on it, but it's a really good couch. It has 3 seat belts on it as well. This table right here has a leaf in it, so you can actually pull it out, and then that leaf is in the doors down there below. These we just put them on the windows during the summer or the winter, just to kind of help cool down the RV a little bit. All right, so sorry, I had to turn the fridge. I had the fridge on and turned the generator off, and it was beeping at me, so I had to reset it. All right, so as we move up here, you'll notice the engine is on. I mean, you can't hear it or anything like that. It runs pretty smooth. All right, up here in the front, this is where I did mention that there was a leak. The previous owner had put a little GPS antenna on top, and they didn't seal it correctly, so there was a leak here. And you'll see that there's a little bit of damage, but it doesn't really do much on the operation piece. And then there is a very small soft spot right here that can be replaced easily. It's just a little bit of patchwork. Right here, it's really solid. There's nothing wrong with it, and the leak is sealed now, and it is good to go. All right, but there is no leaks or anything in the main part of the living area right here. There's nothing soft or anything like that. All right, so I did mention that I did replace the insulation in this oven last week, but it's a really good oven. You can see that there's a gas cooktop underneath, and then you can make it flush if needed, just for more counter space. You also have additional counter space by pulling that up, and then you have your sink area right here. I do have plans to replace this faucet. Found it leaking just a little bit ago. Just the O-rings inside are old. It's 2002, so all right, so you do have a convection oven. This is not original equipment, and so you can't actually run the air conditioner and the convection oven at the same time. All right, so you will see some missing cabinet doors. That's just due to the age of the RV and the doors themselves. You can see in these old RVs, the joints right here, when you pull up on these, those joints tend to flex and bend, and tend to basically break off. I was going to replace it, but I figured I'd just leave it for the next person to get whatever they wanted in here. Okay, all right, we'll move on to the back area. So you do have a walk-in shower, your bathroom sink, everything's fully operational. Hot water heater works. All right, you got your little toilet area. Excuse me. And then you got your back bedroom here. Turn on these lights. All right, So you got the 2 pop outs that make this a pretty good spacious living area. Okay. You'll probably notice that some of the curtains were taken off. We were going to replace those. These are old and need to be replaced as well. But these reflecting insulation works pretty good to keep out the sun and anything like that, even if you had a curtain. All right. I also mentioned that there was a leak in the back here, and you can see that there's a little bit of water damage, but it doesn't go in or anything like that. It's not soft or anything. It just left a little stain there. Okay, and then the floor itself, there's no softness to the floor at all. Okay, so I know this is a pretty long walkthrough, and hopefully it's enough information for you guys. If you have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to PM me. All right. Oh, sorry, one last thing. The fridge is fully operational. I just turned it on, so it's not completely cold, but it is clean and operational, and it takes about an hour and a half to cool down, so I can't show it cold right now. All right, appreciate it. Thanks, guys.